So we will start the first session of the WISER by women in science, engineering and research in Asia. And I'll give the floor to Susanna, who will introduce the first speaker.
Yeah, good morning. So first, I have to special thanks to Diana. This time she's really taking the lead and doing most of the work. So it's been excellent to work with her. So our first speaker is Professor Yoko Shimpuku. She's professor at the University of Hiroshima. And she's very special on global health. And she's being an advocate for women, girls in special field of health and in different ways, in a practical way, doing really a lot of initiatives on that, but also in speaking on different associations. I met her for the first time during the S20, which should be in Saudi Arabia. It was virtual. I hope one day we will be able to meet personally. And I give, please, Yoko, we are looking forward to hear you.
Thank you very much. I would like to share my PowerPoint slide. Thank you very much for the President Chen and the organizer for inviting me to this wonderful event. I am very honored to be the first speaker of the event happening on the International Women's Day. I am Yoko Shimpuku. I am a professor in global health nursing in Hiroshima University, Japan. Today, I'm gonna talk about my experience entitled Becoming an Advocate for Women Using Science. This is my short bio. I am a midwife by profession from Japan. I received my PhD from University of Illinois at Chicago in 2010. After my postdoc experience, I became an assistant professor in St. Luke's International University in Tokyo in 2012. I have been doing research on maternal child health in Africa. And I became a professor in global health nursing in Hiroshima University in 2020. And I will talk about Global Young Academy, and I have been an executive committee between 2018 and 2021. And finally, I am a mother of a daughter born in March 2021. So she's almost becoming a 1-year-old. And in 2020, WHO, UNFPA, and Nursing Now announced the 100 outstanding women nurse and midwife leaders. And I was elected as one of them. I received this as a recognition of my leadership and considered that I have to continue to be an advocate for women in global context. As I mentioned briefly, becoming a member of the Global Young Academy truly widened my horizon. I came to learn how appreciating diversity means by practice. I served as an executive committee for 3-year terms and saw how the leadership looks like in the right picture. This was my first time to see women a majority in the leadership positions in a global science organization. And my area, nursing and midwifery, is relatively new as an area of science. But the members of the Global Young Academy are all respected, regardless of how minority you are. And because they know it is important to respect what others do for their career. So I really enjoy becoming a GYA member. And the GYA has science leadership program. And when you become a member, you are offered to take the workshop. It was in 2018 when I was the new member. We gathered in Thailand for the meeting, and I very much miss to see people in person. This was a beautiful experience. And the main concept we learned from the science leadership program is collective leadership. There were different domains and characteristics you see in the figure here. and you can find your strengths and weaknesses. But weaknesses are not something bad or negative. You can find someone who has different strengths and work together. For example, I am the person who has strengths in the right corner. For example, gather multiple perspectives, understand context and networks, and inspire by ongoing action. But the left side, I need somebody who has strengths in this position. For example, develop credible, relevant solutions. If we gather together who has different strengths, we will be the team of the best leadership. And this is a part of the book called The Journey of Leadership. It's written in Japanese, but I wanted to introduce the part that inspired me. I will read. The people around me will be happy to help those who have a genuine passion and who seriously talk about their dreams and ambitions to realize something. In our leadership journey, we are helped and supported by others. We are not making the most of them. They are making the most of us. And we should believe that by doing so, we can do the best. While self-interest and altruism become merged, and for myself becomes for others, and for others becomes for myself, the leader sublimates her dreams into everyone's dream. Through these learning and experiences, I found 3 key points of leadership: mission, vision, and connection. It's important to find your mission, but at the same time, it's important to be flexible. And first, you better to create the foundation and understand the system to clearly see a way. Then connect with others and inspire them with passion, enthusiasm, and joy. This is my mission for research. It's to create the environment where women living in any places can get access to the best care and give birth safely. Whenever I came to the point where I must choose from different career options, I selected the one which enables me to achieve this mission. So if I was offered a higher position, which requires lots of other responsibilities, I wouldn't choose that one. But I'm trying to be flexible enough. If there are potentials to go around and find a way to finally reach my goal, I would try. Okay, this is the issue I'm trying to address for my research: maternal child health in Tanzania. Maternal mortality there is 556 over 100,000 live births, which is one of the highest in the world. And nearly half of women gave birth without the attendance of healthcare providers, and therefore the referral could be delayed if there is any complication at birth. In Japan, pregnant women generally attend antenatal care 14 times per pregnancy, which is a lot more than other places in the world. In the standard of developing countries, women access to antenatal care is considered good if women attend 4 times or more. In Tanzania, it is still limited to half of all pregnant women who attended antenatal care more than 4 times. And institutional delivery rates vary according to the region. So access to healthcare during pregnancy and childbirth is still a big issue, and it cannot be solved with a single bullet due to shortage of healthcare providers and large geographic conditions. To influence policy by research, it is important to accumulate the research findings so that we can bring stronger voices to policymakers. For my PhD research, I conducted qualitative interviews and published paper titled Women's Perception of Childbirth Experience at the Hospital in Rural Tanzania. As I have been conducting field research in Tanzania for more than 10 years, my research was chosen as a review paper in 2 systematic review articles in the Journal of Social Science and Medicine and Cochrane Review. I was very happy to contribute to this movement and that it is very important to publish quality research papers so that your papers can give strong input to policy. For example, in my paper, I described how women experience in the childbirth in a hospital in rural Tanzania. One of the women said, the nurse told me to wait while she was still walking around. When I was pushing, she told me if I didn't push, she would slap me on the cheek. What upset me was the habit of nursing passing around while I was calling for help. Maybe it'd be better to go to another hospital for another pregnancy. I just don't know. I don't even want to have a baby again because nobody would help me. This is not right for the pregnant woman to experience like that. But to improve that, we need a proper policy. And to make proper policy, we need evidence. And in 2016 and 2018, WHO published new recommendations on antenatal and intrapartum care for women's positive experiences during pregnancy and childbirth. So now WHO recognized the importance of women's experiences as I focus on my PhD study. And I came to think how I can expand my research using both my former studies and WHO guidelines.
No,
with both, it is necessary to update frontline workers so that they can use the knowledge in their practice and women can receive the best care. There are printed or PDF WHO documents available for free, but those documents are not easy to read for frontline workers. So I created the contents in the app, including localized illustration and explanation of why it is important and how midwives can reflect this knowledge on everyday care for women. I also created a practical gestational week guide for midwives to use at antenatal care so that they can look up necessary examinations and health education according to mother's gestational weeks. And I made a mini quiz for midwives to check their understanding. I added several contents from my previous research to convey the voices of women to midwives, and I created a movie in Swahili so that it's easy for anyone to learn. And I added some content related to COVID-19. In the app, I created a space for midwives to put comments and discuss issues so the app became not only a developer to distribute information, but also users to add local knowledge. Through the past research on mHealth, it's been said that it is important to have reciprocal communication than one-way communication. As a result of the small-scale feasibility study, nearly 90% continued to use the app for 2 months after introduction. And the reasons for this high usage among midwives we considered because midwives had high motivation as a professional group. There was lack of other source of study materials. App was new as a study material, so it's kind of fun and exciting. And we had reciprocal communication. The mini quiz showed that statistically significant increase in knowledge before and after the use of app among this group of midwives. It seemed participants liked and enjoyed using the app. We conducted focus group discussion. One of the participants said, "For me, I found the app to be really good. At first, it helped me at any time or anywhere I thought I could educate a pregnant woman. I educated her with confidence because I had materials in my hand. So I was always at peace even when I was in our village on holiday. I was able to open the app. If I have pregnant woman, I continued providing education without any problem. And when I faced a question, I'm thankful that there were people who were very active, especially that white woman. I forgot her name. And the interviewer said, my name, Yoko. And this person said, Yoko, yes. She was active sometimes even at night. When you ask a question, she answers quickly. So in short, I really enjoyed that I had material on my hands all the time. And now we are continuing a large-scale implementation study that investigates the effect of the app on pregnant women. Let me talk about my leadership in science community as well. I briefly mentioned in my experience in the GYA, but before that, I became a member of Young Academy of Japan, which is part of a Science Council of Japan in the cabinet. And I became the vice chair until 2020. I chose to take this position to have experience in leadership so that it became a chance for me to grow and to present women in the leadership position. Our main activity was and still is to connect science with society by promoting citizen science. We are connecting young scientists within Japan and outside Japan. We are creating a place to discuss with non-scientists such as citizens, private sectors, policymakers, governments, and so forth. I was dispatched to G-Science in Paris in 2019, which is the G7 Academy meetings. We discussed how we should develop young scientists, how the voice of young scientists can be involved and seriously considered in the high-level meeting. You see, in the general science community, women are very minority. So when I get the chance, I always try to participate and leave a strong impression so that women's participation will be respected. And I reported the result back to the Prime Minister at that time. We created a place for young scientists to discuss issues with Nobel Laureate at the Tsukuba Conference in 2019 and 2021. We tried to make a flat relationship so that we can discuss equally. Also, I tried to put another female scientist to be a center of the discussion, and they were very impressive as they were. I got lots of chances to talk in international conferences and receive comments that they never see Asian young female scientists in the presentation. I felt sad that we were not represented enough before and that I must do it for the sake of others. And we discussed with policymakers to change the policy for supporting young scientists in Japan. I always conveyed the voice of female young scientists. The Cabinet Office announced the whole package to support the young scientists in January 2020. And the new policy became more flexible about life events women often face. I continue to serve for the Ministry of Education, Culture, Science, and Technology as an academic committee and continue to talk the hard situation of female young scientists. In the global context, I was invited to speak for the International Day of Women and Girls in Science in February 2020. There are many high school students and university students listening to my speech, and later on, some of them talked to me and said my speech really inspired them. They want to be a scientist and leader like myself. I felt humble, but at the same time, I felt that it is the era to implement leadership and inspire younger generation. Okay, I'd like to come back to my key points as a take-home message. I hope I conveyed the importance of mission, vision, and connection. And there were famous African proverbs. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I hope you can join the leadership journey to advocate for women by science. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Yoko. I think it's really impressive that you can move so in the direction. I know Japan is not known for a lot of women in science, and so I think. Why do you think that this? I will start with the first question. Why do you think that we don't have more women in science, in engineering in general, but also in your field in Japan? I hope that the situation is changing, that in the last 5 years it will improve. But what do you think is the main reason?
The main reason is a gender disparity in Japan. We are unfortunately ranked like 121 in the gender gap index. And it's very difficult for young women to get a higher position in the academia, especially. And when you hit the point that you are having a baby, it's really difficult to continue pursuing the academic career. But now we are trying to change by trying to be more flexible in the environment. We are trying to establish more of the like support system to like women to go back to their career after having a baby. They can have more longer like maternity leave, and government is now trying to promote fathers leave after having a baby. Those kind of environments is really important. It's not woman herself. The environment hinders women's activity. So we are trying to change the environment. To do that, we need to influence policymakers. And so that's why I'm trying to continue my activity in the science leadership position.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Oh. Diana.
Hello, this is Diana. Thanks for the really, really interesting presentation. You have been working in trying to promote women at the leadership position for a few years now. Did you see any improvement yet or not yet?
That's a good question. Government is trying to reach the goal of at least 30% of women's representation in the leadership positions. But in many areas, we have not reached yet. For example, in academia, in the professor's position, only 16–70% were women. So it's a long journey to change the society, but very little by little, we are increasing the number. So we need to try harder. But our situation is changing slowly.
Thank you.
More question. I don't know. Do you see the end of the?
Hello. Thank you very much for your presentation. I wanted to ask, since you have been going to other countries and trying to kind of teach your way of thinking, do you find it difficult for other women to listen to you at that point, because they are used to what they are used to do, and I don't know if that's like a challenge for you too. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. It's very important question too. For example, in Tanzania, in the rural side, even if I try to educate women for health, women understand, they are smart, and they want to go to the hospital when they need. But the issue is financial situations of women. If they don't have money, it's difficult to reach the hospital. So I'm trying to be inclusive with family members so that basically it's not easy to change the financial situation of women. But if we include family in our education, we can also influence the husband or other key person in the household, so they can also decide to support women to access to healthcare. So I believe it's important to understand the culture and financial situation and include those who has the power within the household.
From the audience, or I don't know if can we see questions from online? No. So from the audience, any more questions? Yes, please.
Thank you. Hi, thank you for your presentation. It was really good. I wanted to ask if during your attempts to change the views of society, basically, if you noticed more resistance from certain groups, or which groups were these, like basically what do we have to target, or what are the biggest resistance makers? Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's also a very important question. For example, in academia, the number of positions are limited. So if we promote women, which means that the number of positions available for men can decrease. So it's kind of a balance how we can promote women's like higher positions in academia. I'm trying to be more inclusive in terms of trying to promote the positions for young scientists, both men and women, so that some group of men would not attack our activities because they are losing the positions. And because nowadays, younger people, not only women, but also men also having difficulty in getting the stable position. So we are trying to promote younger generation as a both female and male. Then we are trying to avoid kind of a conflict between men and women.
Okay. Any more? Just the last one. And thank you very much, Yoko. Really continue to inspire as you have been inspired for so many in Japan and everywhere. So thank you.
Thank you very much.